friends, it's Carolyn Zook here with Zook Stitch, and today is Saturday, July 16th, 2022. I don't know how it got to be mid-July already, but welcome to my channel about cross stitch. That was very dramatic. I think I figured out why I keep pushing up my glasses in my videos is because when I talk, they slide down on my face. So I'm going to I don't really need them to talk, right? Do you need your glasses to talk? I just need it to read my notes or anything like that. So you might see me putting them on and off throughout the videos, but that's just because I don't really need them to see. I just keep them on usually because it's a pain. Anybody who has readers know it's a pain to keep putting them on and off. Anyway, this is a channel about cross stitch. So welcome. Welcome if you're new. Welcome if you are returning. I'm so glad that you are spending part of your day or your evening with me. So quick weekly recap. I have a class that is starting on Monday. And so I prepped for that class this week, which went actually pretty smoothly. It was a lot faster than I expected, which is very nice. And so that starts on Monday. It's a summer class for a school that operates on the quarter system. So it will be only 1 month long. So we will be off to the races Monday morning. But that all went well. And then I've just continued to work on my house, get things in order. It's going well. Getting a little tired at the midway point of July, but knowing I only have 2 weeks left of vacation, I'm feeling the crunch time, but it's definitely in better shape than it was. So that's great. Also, I have all my windows in my house open. I think it's a little humid today. So there's a really nice breeze once in a while. So if you hear birds chirping or something like that, that's why. A couple of you, it's so cute. A couple of you keep asking or have asked me. I've mentioned in the past I'm going to be selling my dining room table because it's just too big for the space. And my dad had a great idea for this whole space behind me to do built-in cabinets, which I love that idea. A couple of you keep asking, have you sold your dining room table? And the answer is no. I have officially listed it. Last week, I officially listed it on Craigslist and where else? Nextdoor. So hopefully somebody will show some interest. So if you're local and you're looking for a dining room table, let me know. But yeah, so I know this is pretty much a brand new table. It's too big for the space essentially. So I'm going to sell this and get a smaller table, and hopefully this will sell soon. Okay. So for the other kind of announcement recap thing that I have to share is for the magazine monthly Facebook group that I run with my good friend Robin at Bird's Eye Stitches. We have released the August theme and acrostic. We like to give you a couple of weeks to prepare for that. So the August theme, so August is Robin's birthday month. So she got to choose the theme and the acrostic, and her choice for the theme is trees. And the acrostic, there's two of them. One is bird, just 4 letters, B-I-R-D. Or if you're a super challenger, we call them super challengers, there's birdhouse. So if you want more of a challenge, you can pick the longer one. So I will probably be doing bird just because I have so many projects to work on. So I'll be working on bird and trees. And when it gets closer to August, I will show you what my plans are going to be for that. All right, let's get into our discussion, our Q&A. Jay Crockett. So last week we were talking about the Jacaranda. Hopefully I pronounced that right. The Jacaranda, it was a floss in my cottage garden floss that I got from Garon. And Lynette told us it's a tree in Australia. Jay Crockett said it's actually also in Southwest U.S. She says it's in Phoenix and Southern California. And down there, it blooms in late April or early May. And Diane, my good friend Diane, said, yes, it's also in Southern California. where she used to live, and I guess the blooms get all over the sidewalk. So it is also here in the US. So thank you for sharing that helpful information. I'll take a sip of my coffee. This is my mug today. I like people who smile in the rain. This was sent to me by one of my really close friends from graduate school. She hates the rain and she hates cold, and I hate the sun and heat, and so we make really good friends. And I love the rain, so she sent me that mug. Marissa is asking about my readers. She said, how much stronger are your Stitchy readers from your normal ones? So these are my normal ones. I only need them when I'm doing computer work or reading, right? That's what you use these for. Or if I'm in the grocery store and I'm trying to read like what I'm picking up off the shelves, this is what I need these for. If you have been with me since pre-pandemic, you know that I had glaucoma surgery. No, cataract surgery. I've had both. And not because I had glaucoma or cataracts. I have narrow angles behind my eyes. So if a normal person's angles behind their eyes is like whatever angle per degree that is, mine are like this. They were like this. And then, you know, if your length is, a normal person's is this length, mine is maybe that length. So I don't have much space between behind my eyes. There's not a lot of space in there. And so what that means is that pressure can build up. And so the glaucoma surgery that I had back in 2012, I think, which was just, I mean, it was a really simple, I mean, it was not fun, but it was a very simple procedure. Basically, they if you don't like eyes, skip ahead. I know some people get really queasy with eyeball stuff. They basically poked a little tiny hole in my eyeballs to release that pressure. And then that was when I was still living in Pittsburgh in grad school. And then when I moved to Portland and I saw my ophthalmologist, he said, I think I moved back when I was in my mid-30s. I moved back to Portland. And he said, I don't know, I was maybe 38, 39, somewhere around there. And he said, by the time you're 50, we're going to want you to get cataract surgery. Not because I think you're going to have cataracts, but essentially our natural lenses on our eyeballs continue to grow as we grow and as we age, and they can get brittle and that type of thing. What cataract surgery does is it replaces your natural lenses with essentially artificial lenses. And and so excuse me. Excuse me. I think my allergies are really acting up today. So I apologize. So it replaces the lenses. And so when they went in to do that surgery, which I had my Flosstube channel, and many of you were probably still here, and they only do one eye at a time. And when they did my second eye, it was literally that Friday in March of 2020. And then by Monday, it's where everything across the country had shut down, like all elective surgeries had shut down and everything. So I just barely got in. Otherwise, I'd be having 2 different visions in my eyes, which would be a very big pain because this is considered elective surgery. So it was enough of a pain to go, I don't know, 4 weeks that I had to go with them being 2 different eyesights in both eyes. So I can't imagine having to go longer than that. So I had my eye surgery on my second eye on Friday, and by Monday they had shut everything down because of COVID. So anyway, so ever since then, so I've worn prescription glasses since I was 5 years old and contacts and that type of thing. But when they went in to do my cataract surgery, they adjusted so that my distance vision is 20/20 actually, which is super exciting. I don't ever remember having 20/20 vision, but what it means is that I have to wear readers now. So this is a really long way to answer Marissa's question. So thank you for letting me go off on that tangent. I've just had weird eye stuff for being, I'm 45. And so to already have cataract surgery and glaucoma surgery is kind of unusual, I think. Anyway, so my regular readers are 2.5. This is what I use when I'm at the grocery store, on the computer, all that. These are my regular readers. My stitching readers, so Marissa's question was, how much stronger are they? So these are my stitching ones, which is going to kind of hurt. These are 3.5. So I go up a whole full step. So that's, and the 2.5 was recommended by my ophthalmologist. He said start with 2.5, and then the 3.5, I just had to kind of figure out on my own what would work and what feels good. So if you are looking for readers, I would take your stitching or take your phone to the store with you and start at the lowest end, which I think is, I don't know if they make them lower than 1.0, but, and just start trying them on and see how does it feel? How does it look? How can you stitch? You could stand there in the aisle and stitch. Why not? Or read your phone and see how that feels, and then just work your way up until you find. And it was some trial and error. I did buy a couple of pairs that aren't going to work for me. And before I figured out kind of what felt comfortable. So that is the story of my readers. Long-winded. Linda asked about HAID charts. So she said, should I get the standard or the large HAID charts, the large print? If you're doing hard copy, I would say get the large, because sometimes I have found that the symbols can be very similar, and it's very difficult to kind of see the symbol. So I think it's worth the extra. I think it's like an extra $1 or something for the large chart. I think for me, I think it would be beneficial. Because if you are using a PDF, of course, it doesn't matter. Just get the regular. I think they do offer PDF in large format as well. But if you're doing a PDF, you can zoom in to see and just focus on the section that you need. So I would say if you're doing digital copy, just get the standard. If you're doing print, I would always recommend getting the large. It's just going to be easier. Because like I said, some of the symbols look similar, and it's harder, you kind of, I don't know, it just takes more focus and concentration to even see what symbol you're supposed to be picking. But I highly recommend, if you are able, to do the digital copies for HAIDs, because it makes such a world of difference. Amy asked about information on Fortnite fabrics. So, Amy, I have some in my stash. I have never actually stitched on it. Everybody I hear, though, says it's wonderful, wonderful fabric to stitch on. So I am excited to stitch on their fabric. I do have some in my stash. They had a spring collection. I think it was 6 or 7 pieces that came out this past spring, which I purchased. They have a Facebook group, so I will try to remember to link them down below that you can join their Facebook group. And LNS's sell it. So Garon Stitchery sells. I just checked right before filming, and they have a big stock of choices in stock that you can purchase. Acorns and Threads has it. Any local needlework shop, a lot of them should have it now. And if not, you can certainly find one. Like I said, like Acorns has it. Garon Stitchery has it. And both Acorns and Garon are always linked in the description box below. So yeah, everything I've heard, they're wonderful fabrics. They're beautiful. I know that. And everybody says that they're wonderful to stitch on, which I imagine they are. Cindy, so last week, AJ asked about a really bright popsicle pink color because she's stitching a popsicle. And Cindy suggested, she had some suggestions for you, AJ. I don't know if you saw it, but DMC 604, 894, 899, or 956. So maybe take a look at those and see if any of those will work if you haven't already found your color. So thank you, Cindy. Robin, okay, so this is going back to our discussion about when you're frogging and you get those fuzzies and you get the holes. And I think last week I said, oh, I don't get holes, so I don't know what I do. I don't know why I said that. That's not true. I was frogging this week and I'm like, of course there's holes. Um, but Robin said she just uses Scotch tape, or you can use a lint roller. I have a lint roller in my stitchy bag that I just use. But she says Scotch tape works to remove the fuzzies after frogging. And she says she just gently tugs on the fabric in both directions to get the holes to disappear. What I do, and I don't know why I said last week, I don't have that issue. I just wasn't thinking. But what I do with the holes, and this is probably not the best method, so I probably will try to change my method, and I probably shouldn't admit this to a bunch of stitchers. What I do is I take my needle and I gently just move my needle over the holes to kind of get the threads back in order. That's kind of what I do, but you have to be really careful because you're using a needle and it can kind of fray some of the threads if you're not too careful. And so that's what I do. I just take my needle and just kind of gently scratch it almost over the holes, and it more or less puts it back. And then lastly, Julie in Stitches. So this is a question for the community because I cannot answer it. And you'll understand why when I ask the question. Julie says she likes tiny stitches. She likes 1/1 on 40 count. Right? That's not me. She said, what threads or weight of threads do you suggest or do you use for something like 1/1 on 40 count? So I know there's a lot of you out there that does that type of small stitching. Sarah, Stitching Mommy, I'm looking at you. I know you love the really teeny tiny. Jan, I don't know if Jan is watching. You're doing 56 count over 1. So if you can make any suggestions for threads, specific threads or thread weights that will work for Julie in Stitches for her little tiny 1/1, that would be great. I can't help you with that question, but I'm sure our wonderful community will chime in here and get us some really great suggestions. So that is our discussion for this week. Thank you everyone for your comments and your questions. I love answering the questions. And I love our discussions. I learned so much from you all, so it's really, really wonderful. All right, let's get into the stitching. I had one new start this week. So this week I started, this is the new one from Long Dog. It's called 1 Down, 3 Across. I started this with my friend Andrea, and I started this last night. So this is just a few hours of stitching. And this is just, I'm stitching this on a 28 count Lugana. Let's see. And I just got a little bit of a start here. It's in navy is the fabric, and I'm just stitching it in B5200. So here's where I got to. There are a bunch, well, you can see that little random stitch there. There's a bunch of like snowflakes around. That was my very first stitch. I'm going to do beads, I think, for all the snowflakes because it's throughout, and I don't really like doing the ninja stitches, and carrying the white on this dark fabric sometimes can show through, especially on 28 count because the holes are a little bit bigger. So I am either going to just cover that stitch with a bead, which I think will be fine, or take that stitch out eventually, but I'm going to do that at the end. I think I'm going to do a bunch of beads, especially because this is also 28 count, which will be fun. So that's my start. I am railroading my top stitches, not my bottom stitches. Again, like, let's look at, so I'm right up in here, and you can see all those little snowflakes. I don't know if I'll put each bead for each stitch in there, but I'll do some snowflakes in there, snowflake beads. But I am railroading my top stitches because the whole thing is going to be in B5200. And if you aren't familiar with railroading, it's essentially you pull up your thread, and then when you put down your thread in the hole, you put it between the two threads, and that's called railroading. Hopefully, you put the needle between the two threads, and it helps it lay a little bit nicer. I have another piece, Lovebirds, that I'm also doing all in. I'm not sure if it's B5200. I can't remember. I haven't worked on it in a while, but and I'm also railroading just the top stitches. I mean, it takes a little more. I mean, slightly more concentration. And the bottom stitches, I mean, some people might say, well, the bottom stitches also help it lay flatter, which might be true. I'm just doing the top stitches because I think it will help it just lay a little bit nicer and just overall look a little bit nicer. So that was my new start. I think it's exactly the look I wanted with that navy fabric and the B5200. So I worked on that last night. Now I'm going to need my glasses for this one. Let's talk about Cat Alphabet. So this is Cat Alphabet. It's one of my Heaven and Earth designs. This is artwork by Irina Garmashova. And I am in this first block here. We talked about the little mouse last week. So I'm kind of in this area. Okay. So I mean, I don't have a whole lot done. But I'm thrilled with my progress this week. So here we are. I just hit myself in the face. I think I do that every week. The mouse is done. Like this whole section is completely done, except one little stitch on top of his nose. And the reason why I haven't done that stitch is because the cat, you can kind of see the outline of the cat here that is sleeping. That little nose dot is the same color all over here, but I wasn't ready to start the cat yet. And I didn't want to do just a single stitch and put it away when I could just as easily carry it over into here. So when I'm ready to do the cat, I will do his little nose. So I finished most, except for that one, of the stitches over here. So the mousey is done. And then I worked my way over here. So I did this kind of in between the letters. And then you can see this outline of the A. And actually the A is going to be really close to being done because it's mostly just one solid color now that I have to. There's a couple ninja stitches in there. But it's mostly one solid color. So that should go pretty fast. What I found I'm doing, so the Mondays, so this is for Tour de France through Full Coverage Fanatics, where you stitch the number of kilometers that the bikers are bicycling each day. And I'm doing the yellow jersey one, which is the do it every day. And I'm having great success. I really am mostly able to do this because I am off this month. And that's what, I mean, because I'm still doing my regular 3 hours a night stitching and this is extra, but I am loving this. I'm loving how it's coming together relatively quickly, especially now that I got kind of this background chunk done because the next letter is the T. And so what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do the T. These needle minders are from, EJ sent them to me. Aren't they cute? So I'm going to do the T over here, and then I think I'm going to go back and fill in the curled up kitty cat. So that's kind of my plan of attack on this. Isn't this great? I love it, love it, love it so much. It's so fun. And so what I found, so the Mondays for Tour de France are rest days, and I am still stitching on them. Those are good days because I don't have to get a certain number of stitches in. Those are good days for me to do a lot of the kind of more ninja stitches, if there's 1 or 2 stitches here or there, because it takes so long, right? Like I might be only doing a couple of stitches and then changing out the thread. So that's a good day. So for example, this past Monday, I think I stitched for a couple of hours and I only got like 70 stitches in because I was doing a lot of fill in over here. And so it was a lot of color changes. But that's why that A is going to be so exciting because I'll get a lot of stitches really quickly to meet my goal. I'm ahead of where I need to be. So some stats for, so overall now I am 1.65% done with this piece overall. I think last week I was at 1.25. So that's exciting to see that growing. I have done 2,560 stitches so far for Tour de France, and I only have 796 stitches to go to meet the goal, which is 3,356. So I have, basically 800 stitches to go. But I'm going to keep working on it even if when I meet that because I'm actually already pretty sad thinking about having to put this away when August comes. I'm going back to work in August, so it just won't be feasible. But this has been a super fun challenge, and I love the progress I am seeing on the cat alphabet. So that is cat alphabet. And then again, now that you've seen it, so this is the sleeping kitty cat. So here's the T. I guess there's some, maybe I'll try to finish up that box or that block and then come back down and do the cat. And then we have another little mousey. So, and this should be fun because those letters are smaller and they're closer together. And so that will be fun. And then look at that. And then I get to do the whole alphabet. I love it. I love it because this one is such a good, what I like about this chart is that there are some ninja stitches, right? Where there's some confetti, I guess is really what it is. But there's also blocks of color that you can just go and go and go. And I think that is it's a really good balance of both, right? When we think about hate, some people are intimidated. Some people think like, oh, I could never do that. But this is a really good one, especially if you like cats. This is a really good one to do because there's quite a bit of block of colors, at least in this first block that I'm working on. That yes, there are some areas of confetti, but then you're rewarded kind of with the blocks. Unlike the stitching shelf that I'm going to be starting with Kim from Stitch and Stuff and Tina from Tina Stitches. We're starting this on August 12th. You've heard me talk about it. That when we're doing max colors, just so that we get the detail. So there's over 230 colors. So that means that there's not going to probably be blocks of color. So that one's going to be slow. That one's more about the process. So I really like this one. And if you have been thinking about doing this one because you like the cat alphabet, I think it's a really great one. And it's a great kind of first aid, it's big, but it's, there are blocks of color. This is just regular. I didn't do super size. I didn't do max colors or anything like that. This is 625 stitches wide by 501 high. But even so, say we get through this first block, you can see, there's some little background things, right? But there's also going to be some blocks of color that you can stitch on in most of these blocks. So, okay, so that's cat alphabet. Like I said, I'm 1.65% completely done with it, which is not very much. Okay, so next up, last Sunday, I worked on Hearthside Christmas. This is Erica Michaels. This is the Garan designer focus designer for the month is Erica Michaels. So I'm working on it for that, and I'm working on it with my friend Jan of Jan Hicks Creates, who started it. I had started mine a year or two ago, and I kind of put it away for a little bit. I'm going to be honest, I don't love stitching on this. I don't know why. I think it's just so much repetition. I'm not super loving it, but I love the final look. So I'm going to keep going on it. I'm not going to quit on it. I am stitching this on, let's see. It's a color and cotton pearwood. It's called pearwood 32 count Lugana. And this is where I got to last Sunday. So I'm just working on this on Sundays throughout the month of July, kind of for Christmas in July. So I got friends for your blank, a wreath for your blank. Because I just kind of want to work in this section before I move the Q-snaps. And I did a little more pulling down this border and pulling down this border. And I think that's part of it. It's easy enough. It's just kind of there's a lot of snowflakes. I don't know why snowflakes are such a pain to stitch, but they really are. Even though I have a rhythm and a system for stitching these, it's just a lot. And then these two just felt like a lot. And this is maybe a slightly over halfway done, or maybe right about halfway. So this is where I got to last month. I do love the final product. And I think it might be, when I get down here in these little motifs, that might be kind of fun. I don't mind stitching on words. They do go pretty quickly. This banner is going to be fun. But, I'll keep going on it. And I do like how it's stitching up, and I like the fabric and all that. So this is Erica Michaels' Hearthside Christmas. And so Garan Stitchery started a Flosstube channel, which I'll try to remember to link below as well. And they said they are doing the Garon Designer Focus again next year, which is great news because I think it's really fun. I haven't participated every single month, but it's really, really fun. So, and they're going to have 12 new designers for next year, which will be exciting. So if you're thinking about that you want to participate any way that you can, I mean, right, it's really low stakes, then stay tuned for more information on that. So that was Hearthside Christmas. And then I stitched on, I did another, the Hearthside Christmas is also for the H in this month's acrostic, which is honor, honor, Honor. H for Hearthside. So I also did Autumn Quakers. My goal on this is Rosewood Banner. My goal on this is 12 hours a month. So I finished up my 12 hours this week. So I spent most of my 12 hours was doing this motif right here. So this is page 6, a little bit into page 5. And I did some of these simple motifs over, these little motifs over there. And then I kind of started down with this, just barely got a start on these acorns there. And then I'll have to go back to page 5 because this motif is partly on page 5 and then partly on 6, 7, 8 below. So we are getting there. My goal is to finish it this year. I'm stitching it on Picture This Plus 28 count doubloon. And sorry, it's very wrinkly. This is where we're at. Here's the whole thing overall. Love the colors on this piece. Let me show you where I worked. Okay, so it really did. I did 9 hours this week on this piece. And so I had this flower was stitched. I had to frog it and then restitch it because it was off so that the stem didn't line up. And look at that heart. I love the variegations in that heart. And then I did all the rest. And then there's these little motifs over here, this one, that little leaf, that design. And then I came over here and you can see we just got a little star on the acorn caps. So that is where we are at. So this will go away until next month when we'll pull it out and get 12 more hours done on it. But we're making progress, and I still think I'll get it done by the end of this year. So that will be exciting. Rosewood Banner Autumn Quakers. Okay, so that is everything that I stitched on for this week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. No, that's everything I stitched on for this week. This is going to be a shorter video. Let's do haul. So haul, I just have a little tiny bit of haul. So I want to tell you about a new floss dyer. Her name is Cindy. Wonderful, wonderful person. She has a Facebook group, which I'll link below, called Farmhouse Flossies and Such. And she sells her hand-dyed floss. So I got some. It's cotton. So I picked some up from her Facebook page. So these are 10 yards. I think these are so reasonably priced. These are, I think, $3.50 for 10 yards. This is called Antique Santa. I got 2 of them because they're beautiful. This is also 10 yards called Tea Party. Isn't that pretty? And then I got 2 yards of, 2 10 yards of strawberries. So she dyes them and then we'll post them for sale on her Facebook group. So please go check her out. And then she sent a free needle minder, the American flag, very cute. So thank you, Cindy. They're beautiful, beautiful flosses. So I'm super excited to find something to stitch with them. And then Haid was having a 50% off sale. In the comments, I told many of you, because several of you were saying, I'm thinking about doing cat alphabet. And I'm like, you should go right now and it's a 50% off sale. So it ended yesterday, Friday. But I did pick up 2 charts, which I will put the pictures in here because I haven't printed them yet. I picked up Magic of Christmas, which is Sarah from Stitching Mommy is to blame for, because she has this chart and showed it, and it's all my favorite things. It's a kitten, it's Christmas, it's snow. So all my favorite things in this chart. So she either has started it or is about to start it. So I did get that one. And then I picked up another one called Christmas Tree Kittens, which again, all my favorite things, kittens and a Christmas tree. And I just thought it was adorable. Do I need all these huge heids that are Christmas themed? No, but they're really cute. They're really cute. So I got those two. I picked those two up. There were more on my wish list that I could have grabbed, but I restrained. So that's all I got. That's all the haul I have for this week. Let's do some giveaways. So giveaways. Now, for last week, we gave away this home pattern. Sorry, I was reading my notes. From Stitching with the Housewives. Cheryl sent this to me, and we did it as a giveaway. This is home is where the wreath is, and you can change out the wreath for each season. I think that's the seasonal wreath is a separate pattern, but this pattern is for the home. And the winner of home is Charlie Craig. Charlie, you won this, and I do need your address, so please send me your address, and I will get it shipped out to you. The other one that I was giving away was my pattern and the leftover floss and all that of my Owl Forest embroidery. This is Bayonne Cat that Jan and I finished. She finished hers far before me. And so I'm going to send this out to somebody. And the winner of this is Linda Fisatola. So Linda, congratulations, you won this. So I have your address, but let me know, do you want me to cut the picture out of the box? Do you want me to try to dismantle the box? Do you not care about the box? Let me know what you want me to do with that, and I will get that sent out to you. And then last we had, by the Sunflower Seed, our candy corn chart. This was very controversial about whether or not people liked it. A lot of people said they love candy corn. Was it Lynette? Somebody said, we don't have candy corn in Australia. What does it taste like? How would you describe the taste? I was like, it's like a mellow, like, like not marshmallow, but mellow. And it's very controversial. That's about all I could say, because I don't really understand how to explain how it tastes. So let us know if you can explain how candy corn tastes. The winner for this is Cat C. So Cat C, I think I need your address as well, but I'm happy to send that out to you. All right, so for this week, we have more Halloween because it's July. I know a lot of people are doing Christmas in July, but Halloween comes first. So we have, this is called Haunted House. This is so darling. This is one that somebody sent me and I didn't keep track of who sent it to me. So I apologize. If it was you, please let me know. I kept it in my stash for a really long time thinking I wanted to stitch it. And then, when I'm doing all this cleaning out, I'm like, I'm probably not really going to stitch it, even though I think it's darling. It's called Haunted House by Elizabeth Designs, but it's not spooky. It's really, you get all three charts in here. A Happy Halloween, which I think is cute. Harvest Blessing, which I think is really darling. And then this is the Haunted House. See, it's not scary or spooky at all. I think it's just darling. Look at that bat. That might be is that stitched? No, that bat is a charm. So there are some charms that you will need to find because the charms don't come with this. But I think this is just such a darling chart. And like Harvest Blessing, you could keep that out all fall. Even this one, I think you could keep out all fall because it's not super. You could even not put the bat charm if you don't like, that real spooky. Bats spook you out. Anyway, if you want this one, say haunted. Say something about haunted if you want. And please don't say anything about giveaways or winning or anything like that. I had to delete a couple of comments last week of people who said, and they were kind comments. They were like, I hope I win the giveaway, right? Like they weren't terrible, mean comments or anything, but we just don't want to attract trolls. So, and this is open worldwide, so I'll ship it anywhere. Next up in our Halloween series, we have another one by Elizabeth's Needlework Designs called Harvest Moon Cottage. And this is another one that I kept in my stash because I thought I was going to stitch it. Look at that. Isn't that darling? I think it's so beautiful. This one calls for DMC in weeks. Does it tell us the size? 94 by 154. So not too bad. So if you want to be entered to win this, say, Harvest. And then this one, another one that somebody sent me, and I kept it in my stash, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to actually stitch it, but it's really darling. This is called Spooky Town by Debbie Mum. Isn't that cute? I think it's so cute. So you stitch it on black, is what it says. But you can also stitch it on antique, for the characters, brown perforated paper. So if you want to stitch them just separate, you could do like ornaments. So they have the charts for these creatures separately. And then you have this as the cross stitch chart all in one. So if you want this one, say spooky. So we have spooky, harvest, and haunted. All right, so that's what we're going to do for next week's giveaways. Okay, plans. Let's get into plans now. So plans, I'm going to continue working on Cat Alphabet for Tour de France, obviously. I meant to work on StitchCon this past week, my StitchCon 2022 piece, which I'll show you what that is in just a second here. And instead, it was one of those nights, I think I had taken a nap and didn't wake up until like 6 o'clock. And so I kind of ran out of time. So I just stitched on Cat Alphabet the whole evening instead of doing like an hour or two and then pulling this out. So this is the StitchCon 2022 piece from StitchCon. Sue Hill has designed this. And there is a Sal going on. So I started this. This is, I think, one or two maybe sessions working on it. So I'd like to pull that out again. So this is where it's at. Friends old and new. Here's 310. Guess what 310 is stitched in? It is not 310. So this is the shop cat at Keepsakes. 310 is stitched in 3371. I thought about changing it, but it actually looks pretty decent. So I'll leave it. Sue Hillis knows what she's doing. So I'd like to give that another day of work this month. And I'm just stitching this on, I think, a 32 count lamb's wool linen that I had in my stash. So I'll work on that. I'll continue working on Hearthside Christmas. That is my Sunday piece. So I will work on that tomorrow. And then this week, I'm going to work on early bird bouquets. I'm going to give it 6 hours. This is these guys. This is early bird bouquets. It is designed by Felicity Hall. And I am working on this one. And this is in the April 2019 Cross Stitcher magazine. That's what the cover looks like. And so I'm going to give this 6 hours, and this is going to be for the 2 O's in honor, because O's, these are going to be finished in hoops, and O is round like a hoop, or hoop is round like an O. So here's where I'm at. So that cup is done except for the back stitching, and then I'm starting on the flowers, you can see, and then I have the bird to do yet too. So I'd like to get some more progress. I would like to finish all 3 of these next year. Just to get them done. So that will get 6 hours. And then I'm going to work on one of my WIPGO calls for this month is Death by Cross Stitch. So I'm going to pull that out, and that's a long dog sampler. So this is what it will look like. I would tell you where I'm at on that chart, but I don't know because I haven't seen it in a few months. Can't remember. So for Death by Cross Stitch, it's a long dog. It's charted in monogram, in one color, not monogram, one color. I am changing up the colors just kind of how I feel. It's cat hair. And I am using the same colors that I'm using for Hoity Toity that was the Jan Hicks color conversion for Hoity Toity. So I'm just using the same colors. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of, as I come to each section, I'm putting those colors in. So here's where I'm at. I like it. I really like working on this one. I feel like I just don't work on it very much. Like, it's not very far along. But we're getting there. I think it's still on my WhipGo board 2 or 3 more times. I think, well, this month, and I think it might be on there maybe even 2 more times. So it'll be coming out more later. That's where we're at on Death by Cross Stitch. This is on a 32 count Silvery Moon Lugana, filled with cat hair. So I'll work on that. And then next weekend is 24 Hours of Cross Stitch, which is hosted by Jen Lee of Quirks and Stitches. So for 24 Hours of Cross Stitch, my plans are Cat Alphabet. I'm also going to pull out my other Haid. This is Cardinal Cottage, artwork by Donna Gelsinger. So normally, if you're new, I pull out Cat Alphabet and Cardinal Cottage once a month and just do one session, like 3 hours on it. And so it makes progress, right? But not necessarily a ton, not like working on it every day, obviously. Several of you have commented recently about, oh, I guess I have to pull it out and work on it. It doesn't just finish itself by sitting in the closet. No, it doesn't. So here's where I'm at on this one. So I'll give this some good time. Minimum 3 hours, maybe longer for 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. Just because it's still in the background and I would like to get to closer to something fun with that piece. And then the last piece I'm going to work on for 24 Hours of Cross Stitch is a Stony Creek Welcome Winter, or Winter Friends Welcome. So I want to finish this year, and I basically just have the snowman. I mean, I say just, there's a lot of work in there. I have the snowman and the back stitching to do, and essentially that's it. This is the summer 2020 issue of Stony Creek Cross Stitch. This is what the cover looks like. And my goal on this one is to finish it this year. So here is where we are at. So you can see it's missing the back stitch, and I changed that bottom. Instead of saying welcome friends, I just put trees in, and I have little charms that I'll put on when it's all done. But basically I just have, well, I guess there's some beads that go in up here in the holly. So there's some beads and charms and back stitching, and then that snowman, and that's all I have to do. So I'm going to give that some good time also for 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. I figured that's a good thing to do. And I'm going to a musical with a friend next Sunday night, so I don't know that I will meet. I was going to try to meet, actually get 24 hours since I don't have to work on Friday, but I'm going to see a musical with a friend, so that'll be super fun. So we'll see how much I get done, but I'll check in with you on Saturday anyway. And then I'm going to try to film a mid-year whip parade maybe tomorrow. I'll try to film that because we're getting, we're midway through July already. So I'm going to try to film that maybe tomorrow. We'll see how we're feeling, but maybe this week. So that's everything I have for you this week. I hope you have a wonderful stitchy week, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye.